The most complicated thing in your car is the part nobody looks at, the transmission. And it comes in 7 levels, starting with a 100-year-old handshake and ending with a $3 million gearbox that bends the laws of physics. That top-level box can jump from 7th gear straight to 4th, instantly, like the gears in between never existed. By the end of this climb, you'll never look at that lever the same way again. And every level is fighting the same war. A war against time, against wasted power, against physics itself. Let's start at the bottom. Level 1. The handshake. The manual transmission. 3 pedals, 1 stick, and the most honest deal in all of engineering. Here's how it actually works. Your engine is always spinning, but your wheels aren't always moving, so between them sits a clutch. 2 plates press together. Press the pedal, the plates separate, and the engine spins free. Release it, the plates grip, and power flows. While they're apart, you slide the lever, and inside the box, collars lock onto different pairs of gears. Small gear driving a big gear, huge pulling force, low speed. That's first. Closer size gears, less force, more speed. That's fifth. Every single shift is you, personally, breaking the connection between engine and wheels, choosing a new deal, and sealing it again. That's why people love it. Nothing is decided for you. When you nail a perfect downshift, that satisfaction is real, because you did it. But here's the honest truth about the honest gearbox. Every shift takes you, a human, the better part of a second. And that pause, that tiny gap, is the enemy. So engineers asked a dangerous question. What if the car could shake its own hand? Level 2. The butler. So how do you shift gears without a clutch pedal at all? You fire the power through liquid. Inside a modern automatic sits a torque converter. Picture 2 fans facing each other in a sealed chamber of oil. The engine spins the first fan, the oil blasts across, and the moving oil spins the second fan, which drives the wheels. No solid connection at all. That's why an automatic can sit at a red light, in gear, engine running, without stalling. The fluid just quietly slips. Behind that converter, sets of planetary gears, small gears orbiting inside a ring gear like moons around a planet, are grabbed and released by the transmission itself to change ratios. You do nothing. The car handles everything, smoothly, invisibly, like a good butler. There's a reason this became the default for millions and millions of drivers. But a butler still serves you fixed choices. Gear 3, Gear 4, steps on a staircase. And someone looked at that staircase and asked the strangest question on this entire list. Why do gears have to exist at all? Level 3, the shapeshifter. The CVT, and this is the level that breaks people's brains. Because a CVT has no gears. None. Instead, picture 2 pulleys shaped like pairs of cones facing each other, with a strong belt running between them. Squeeze one pulley's cones together, and the belt rides higher, like climbing up an ice cream cone. Spread them apart, and it slides lower. Change both at once, and you can create any ratio you want. Not 5 choices, not 8 choices, but infinite choices, sliding smoothly from one to the next. The engine can always sit at its most efficient speed, so fuel economy is genuinely better. But there's a catch, and you can feel it. You press the accelerator, the engine jumps to one loud, droning note and just stays there, while the car slowly catches up. People call it the rubber band effect, and honestly, that's exactly what it is. The shapeshifter won by being efficient, not by being loved. But while the CVT was busy saving fuel, race engineers were obsessing over the opposite problem, not smoothness, speed. Because every moment a transmission spends shifting is a moment the car isn't accelerating, and their solution was borderline science fiction. Level 4, the mind reader, the dual clutch transmission. Here's the trick, and it's beautiful. Take a manual gearbox, but split it in 2. One clutch and shaft handle gears 1, 3, and 5. A second clutch and shaft handle 2, 4, and 6. While you're driving in 3rd gear on clutch 1, the computer has already selected 4th gear on clutch 2. It's just sitting there, waiting, fully engaged, holding the next gear like a relay runner with an arm already stretched out for the baton. When the moment comes, one clutch opens as the other closes, and the shift happens in a fraction of the time any human could manage, with barely a gap in power. This thing was born in racing, dominating Le Mans in the 1980s, before finally arriving for normal drivers in the 2003 Volkswagen Golf, a family hatchback, suddenly shifting faster than exotic machinery. But for all its genius, the dual clutch is still polite, and racing has no room for polite. To shift faster, engineers had to get violent. Level 5, the brawler, the sequential dog box. Strip away the synchronizers, the gentle rings that ease gears together in your road car. Replace them with dog rings. Metal collars with big, brutal teeth that don't ease into anything. They slam. Straight into matching slots on the gear, metal on metal, bang. That's a dog engagement, and it's exactly as violent as it sounds. Then take away the H pattern too. In a sequential box, the lever only moves two ways. Pull back, shift up, push forward, shift down. One gear at a time, in order, like a motorcycle. No hunting for third and hitting first by mistake at 160 kilometers an hour. The result is a shift that's savage, loud, lightning quick, and completely wrong for the street. Dog boxes clack and grind in traffic, they demand commitment, and they wear out fast. But on a racetrack, where every shift is flat out and every tenth matters, the brawler rules. Rally cars, touring cars, superbikes, and yet, even the brawler's brutal little power gap, those few hundredths of a second, was too much for one particular sport. A sport where they measured that gap, hated it, and decided to bend time itself. Level 6. The Time Bender. The Formula 1 seamless shift gearbox. An F1 car shifts gear in around 2 to 3 milliseconds. Let me put that in human terms. A blink of your eye takes about 100 times longer. By the time you've blinked once, an F1 gearbox could have shifted, changed its mind, and shifted back. Dozens of times. And the truly insane part isn't even the speed. It's that the power never stops. Here's the trick. Simply, the gearbox is quietly getting the next gear ready while the current gear is still driving the wheels. For a few thousandths of a second, both gears are alive at once, something that should lock the whole gearbox solid and shatter it. The system survives on timing so precise it borders on witchcraft, releasing the old gear in the microscopic window before disaster. That razor-thin overlap is worth around 0.3 of a second every single lap. In a sport decided by thousandths, that's an eternity. For years, this was the ceiling, the fastest shifting transmission concept on the planet. Then one stubborn engineer in Sweden looked at all of it, F1 boxes, dual clutches, everything, and spotted the one flaw everybody else had accepted. Level 7. The Rule Breaker. The Koenigsegg Lightspeed Transmission. Here's the flaw. Every fast gearbox on Earth, even the mind readers, even the time benders, thinks in steps. Neighbor to neighbor, 7th to 6th to 5th to 4th. A dual clutch can only get the gear next door ready, and if it guesses wrong, you wait. Koenigsegg's answer, built 100% in-house for the Jesco hypercar, refuses to think in steps at all. 9 forward gears, 7 separate wet clutches, each with its own sensors and actuators. Because so many clutches control so few gear sets, the box doesn't have to pass through anything. It opens and closes the right combination and leaps from any gear to any other gear, near instantly. 7th to 4th, in one move, like pressing a button on an elevator instead of walking down every stair. Pull the paddle to its second notch, and the system reads the situation and drops you straight into the perfect gear for maximum attack. And the engineering gets crazier. This 9-speed weighs just 90 kilograms, about the same as one adult passenger, and it's at least 50% shorter than the gearbox it replaced. There isn't even a flywheel. The engine's crankshaft bolts straight into the transmission and uses the spinning gearbox itself to stay smooth. That's why a Jesco at idle sounds eerily like a Formula 1 car. Bolted to a twin-turbo V8 making up to 1,600 horsepower, it launches to 60 in around 2.79 seconds, in a car costing roughly $3 million. The handshake from Level 1 has become something that shifts before you've even finished the thought. But you don't need $3 million to touch this story. If you drove today, you operated Level 1, 2, 3, or 4, and now you know exactly what was happening under your hands. The next time your car shifts, feel it. That tiny pause, or that seamless surge. That's a century of obsessed engineers, arguing with physics, one level at a time. And if you think transmissions get extreme, wait until you see what happens to engines. Because that ladder starts with a single cylinder small enough to hold in your hand, and ends with an engine taller than your house, whose pistons weigh more than your entire car. That climb is coming next.